In today's challenge, I'm not going to be producing a techno track. No, I'm going to be producing a drum and bass track. So if you saw last week's video, I produced a techno track using a drum and bass sample pack. Today, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to try to create a drum and bass track using a techno sample pack. And for this, I've chosen something called 2022 Techno Essentials. And yes, I know it's 2023, but this looked like a good sample pack and it's free. So word of caution here, I've actually never produced anything like a drum and bass track. This is completely uncharted territory for me, but I'm going to try to do this with techno sounds and I'm going to try to keep the techno aesthetic. I'm not going to try and mold these sounds into a drum and bass sound, but I'm going to keep the techno aesthetic and see how that works when I sort of overlay it on a drum and bass track. So I'm very curious and very excited to get into this, so let's just get going. First, I'm looking for a kick drum sample. There's a few nice ones in this pack and I chose this one. Now for the kick drum pattern, that of course has to be the typical kick drum pattern for a drum and bass track. Don't know what it's called, but this is it. You're not going to hear it because I'm just moving on quickly to the snare. Not a lot of choice of snares here. Well, there are a few in the list here, but they're all 909s. So a 909 snare it is, combined with the kick pattern at 176 BPM, because this is drum and bass. So that's the basics, I guess. Now I need a bass line. This sample pack has some great bass lines that come from the Moog DFAM, a big favorite of mine. These all sound awesome for techno. Which one is gonna work for drum and bass though, if it is? So I selected this one, I'm warping it so it'll conform to the 176 tempo. You get this, which is a little bit comical sounding. Adjusting the warp settings here, low pass filtering, but it's going too quickly. So half speed, let's try half speed. That does sound a bit more drum and bassy. So I'm not quite happy with that first note because it's a little bit less loud than the other ones. So I'm adjusting the pattern here, going down I think an octave or two. Moving the... So I've changed the sequence a little bit, it starts later, but it starts two times, first just for one note and then for the rest. And to my ears that sound better. Okay, quickly moving on. So sound effects, some really cool impacts in this pack. Cool sounding stuff, all very techno sounding of course. I'm choosing this one and I'm going to loop that. But I'm changing the simpler for a sampler so I can reverse the sample. Now let's get this rising sound. Instead of going down in volume, it goes up. Okay, so that's that done. We're making a lot of headway here. Synth sequences, so this pack has a bunch of good sounding synth sequences. Different styles here. Melodic, dub stuff. I'm gonna see if I can make this one fit into my awesome drum and bass track. That sort of works. Let's make it an actual melody line of sorts. A 4-bar pattern. So that's going to be the main theme of this track. Adjusting the envelope a little bit to make it smoother. Filtering a little bit. There we go. On to the next track. More synth sounds, let's see. Yeah, I kind of like this one. That could work. Like sort of a stabby bass note. What else can I do with this? I'll come back to that later. On to the next track. Looking for some more synthy sounds. That one, to fill out the high end. Drum and bass music, the stuff I've been listening to tends to be a little bit more colorful than techno, a little bit more variety in sounds and effects and stuff. Anyway, on to some hats and stuff, some percussion. Of course, all very techno-like sounding hats and cymbals. Here there's this 909 section. Well, for typical techno sound, house and techno, of course, the 909 hi-hat, closed hi-hat. That was easy. It does sound a bit machine gun-like, so I'm adding a random stepped LFO, causing some slight pitch variations, volume variations, that's probably a better idea. Softening the attack, a little bit more of a shaker-like sound. Good, okay. What's next? Some claps maybe? Why not? Typical techno house, tech house sounds. 909 clap. Okay, that pattern seems to work. I need some more. I'm up to my 10th track here. Another hi-hat or cymbal sound. That one. Right, so I've used the sounds to create a bunch of loops, and now I'm going to try and create an arrangement. Usually I do live arrangement, but for this one I think I'm going to have to draw it out and follow the typical structure of a drum and bass track. So that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, and so my drum and bass track is done. Now I'm going to do a playthrough and let's see what I came up with. So usually I do a sped up video of the arrangement process. I lost the footage of that, so this is the whole arrangement done, and let's just start from the beginning and I will talk you through a little bit of what I did here. So let's go. So what you didn't see me do in the previous part was finding these sound effects. These also come from the sound pack, and everything in white here, this group track. Very cool sound effects. Why? Well, I think drum and bass, the liquid drum and bass style, which I guess this is, hopefully, uses a lot of these effects, a lot of risers and big hits to accent things. Anyway, so we have the kick drum here, the sub bass isn't going yet, but the drone sound here, and then the main chords, the melody, it's now starting. This is it. And then we get the kick and snare pattern with the kick here and the snare here, but not yet the sub bass. So this is lacking a little bit of the low end energy. We're still in the intro basically. There's this riser coming in. There was a riser here, and I programmed the snare roll because why not? And now we get the full groove with the sub bass here from the Moog DFAM, filtered down with the low pass filter. And then still these accents. The bass note here, I chose that one, you saw me do that, but I actually changed the pattern. I added the second note. It was first only the first one. Now there's the second one, the octave lower. Adds a little bit. And we can hear the clap, the 1/8 hi-hat and the fast shaker sound here. 16 notes. I changed this as well. I think this was only the second hi-hat everywhere, but it's all hi-hats, 8 notes. And there we had another riser. track is going in a little bit of a lower gear now. Again, the chord part, it's not the sequence, it's just a single chord, octaves, adding in some claps and fast hi-hats again. And now back to the main theme. But as you can see here, the automation on the filter is pretty closed. So we're not hearing that much of the high frequency of the chords. It's building up with the riser here. Now a big break. Again, back to the more basic version. The chords, not the progression, just a single chord with octave. And keeping the bass notes here. Again, these kick drums doubled up with this hit, this sort of low percussive hit. And now a little riser. Here we have the sub bass coming in again, building the tension. In the meantime, the chords filter is opening up, it's letting through more high frequencies, adding some claps and hi-hats to build the tension, and my absolutely genius 909 snare roll. And there we go, drop. So the big last sprint, most of the sounds going on in the next few bars here. Adding these high notes in. Sound pretty soft, by the way. Did I forget to open the filter? Oh, there's a filter on them as well, opening up. I mean, I am a techno producer, so I'm gonna use a lot of low-pass filters. In typical drum and bass productions tend to have more going on. For me, this is already pretty baroque, pretty high count of tracks here, 16. Typically I don't use that many, and the sound effects and everything. But yeah, you get the idea. So let me know in the comments if you think this passes for a drum and bass track. I'm really curious. Or is it sort of a techno track in disguise? I don't know. I tried to do something drum and bassy. Again, some risers and stuff here. The kick snare pattern is going on, but the bass is dropped out. Everything is winding down. Another big hit. Another riser here. I automated the high pass filter here in Pro Q. And that's it. The track. Okay, so the track is done. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this track. Please leave a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I have a whole bunch of ideas of new challenges for me to flex my music making muscles. So in any case, thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.